Hi, I'm the Scrub and you're here for one reason. Quick warning, these are major spoilers for the end of patch 5.3 and basically the end of the Shadowbringers story arc. If you are not up to this point in the story, I'd recommend coming back when you're up to this point. For now though, let's begin. Elidibus, I have been longing for the day that I get a decent challenge in this game for 8 freaking years. So if you want to summon hundreds of adventurers to face me, good. I still need to get my workout in today. As they say in storytelling, the good guy can't win all the time. Well, this time I'm playing the part of the bad guy. Thancred, I swear to God, if you play Billie Eilish from your Spotify right now, I'm gonna knock you out. Time to learn about the Heroes Gauntlet. Simplified. If you're using the duty support system, I'd recommend single pulling this dungeon. Head across the tracks and pull the 4 enemies that appear on the path. Continue to the end of the path where 2 samurai will appear. There will be several AoEs pretty much from all of the mobs that you'll need to dodge as best you can. Almost everything can be stunned if you want to avoid the AoEs. You'll need to keep an eye out for the cast of Absolute Thunder 4 from the Black Mage, as this will put a point blank AoE on a random party member, which will give anyone caught in the AoE an electrocution dot tick that is discernible. This player will need to get away from the group to avoid damaging their fellow party members. When everything has been defeated, the citizens of Mord Sook will push a boulder down to create a path for you. 3 monks will appear and create straight line AoEs in front of them with the cast of Whole Self. Just move between them or behind them to dodge them. 2 mighty Talos will also walk into the arena to assist with dealing with the enemies. As you head down the path, there will be another 3 enemies that will spawn in. Watch out for the darker circular AoE that appears after a few seconds, as this will be an additional Dragoon enemy that will land in the arena. Again, there will be a lot of AoEs from the enemies in this pool, so try and dodge around everything as best you can. Also watch out for the Dragoon, which will cast a point blank AoE on a random party member with the cast of Moondiver. If you get this AoE, just move away from the rest of the party. During this pool, the 2 Talos will cast Earth Shatter and create blue straight line AoEs that won't affect you but will damage the enemies in the AoEs. After these go off, the Talos will power down. After everything has been defeated, another Talos will smash the wall to reveal the path for you and its first boss time. Spectral Dream is a triple hit tank buster. The cast of Dash will create a large point blank AoE on the boss's location with a unique looking marker somewhere else in the arena. This marker will be tethered to the Spectral Thief as it gets 6 green orbs around it. These orbs will begin to disappear one by one. This will be the countdown until the boss moves and the AoE goes off. So you'll need to move away from the marker of where the boss will be moving to, as this will be where the AoE will go off. Getting hit by this will give you a Vuln stack. Spectral Whirlwind is a room-wide AoE. All players will get a point-blank AoE on them. Spread out and don't overlap these. As these are going off, the Thief will cast Chicken Knife. This will put 4 daggers in the corners of the room that will create a narrow straight-line AoE through all players. You can either spread out and try and avoid everyone's AoE as best you can, or you can follow the NPCs and all stack up in the middle so that all of the AoEs are going through the same point and it will be much easier to dodge. When these are about to go off, the Thief will cast Shadow Dash. This will either be the point-blank AoE from before or a straight line AoE that covers the entire arena, and the boss will be moving to 2 points in the arena instead of just 1. Just make sure that you move away from these points depending on which of the AoEs the Thief performs. Again, getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Vuln stack. From here, the boss will repeat mechanics until it has been defeated. When you defeat the boss, Feo Ul will turn up and create a Fey portal for you to interact with, which will teleport you to the next area. As you move forward, 3 enemies will appear. Pick these up and continue down the path. The final boss of Don Meg will appear with a bunch of smaller minions to help with the fight. Just before the water at the end of the path, 4 more enemies will appear. Group everything up and avoid the AoEs as best you can. Make sure the enemies are in front of the Gentlemanly Frog, as it will cast Toad Choir with a wide blue conal AoE. This will not affect the party, but it will affect the enemies, as they will all be turned into toads for 15 seconds. All of the enemies will only be able to auto attack during this time, so burn them down as fast as possible. When everything has been defeated, a bridge of flowers will rise from the water to help you to the next area. Numo and Tupac will be there to help you. Pick up the 2 mages and continue up the path until you get to the gate where 4 more enemies will appear. Group everything up and nuke it all down. Again, watch for all of the AoEs from the enemies. There will be extra help from Mustard Seed and Peas Blossom, 2 of the trees from the Dancing Plague. Apparently Puck was too busy filing his taxes to join us. When everything has been defeated, the vines will shrink back into the ground and the gate will open. Second boss time. The boss will turn to a random non-tank party member and cast Absolute Dark 2. This is a large and wide conal AoE. Dodge away from this AoE as fast as you can. If you get hit by this, you'll get an Discernible Doom that lasts for 15 seconds. Healers will need to cleanse this doom, or else the player will instantly die when the debuff expires. The Spectral Necromancer will cast Necromancy, and 4 dark circles will be created in the arena. These will have untargetable zombies that will appear from these circles, which will each tether to 1 player. These zombies will follow these players for a few moments. While this is going on, the Necromancer will cast Twisted Touch, which is a tank buster. When the tethers disappear, the zombies will fall where they are, and the Necromancer will cast Necro Burst. The zombies will then start to hover above the ground with an aura around them as they burst in a medium-sized AoE. Just move away from the zombies before they burst. The easiest way to solve this is to copy the duty support NPCs and group them all up in the middle of the arena, which will leave a much larger safe zone. After this, the Necromancer will create 5 AoEs, 1 in the middle and 4 on the outside part on one half of the arena. These AoEs will linger and give you an unassumable 15-second bleeding dot tick if you touch them. Another Necromancy cast will happen, but this time the zombies will get a thick red tether to every player. Everyone will need to spread out for what comes next. All players will get a red marker over their head for a few seconds. After this red marker disappears, all of the zombies will jump and hold every player in place with a debuff of death throws. This will mean that the next Necroburst cast will be unavoidable for all players. If you are close together or grouped up when this goes off, it can easily one-shot you. So this is why we spread out nice and early to avoid this extra damage. Chaos Storm is a room-wide AoE. The next cast of Necromancy will be back-to-back and will have both sets of zombies appear one after the other. I'd recommend trying to stack up for the first set to group them all together before spreading out as fast as you can before you get bound in place and take the next Necroburst cast to the face. While this is going on, there will also be an AoE underneath all players with a cast of Dark Deluge from the Necromancer. Getting hit by any of these AoEs will give you a Vuln stack. From here, mechanics will repeat until the Necromancer has been defeated. When the boss has been defeated, Titania will create a path for you to enter the next area. When you jump down, Carrick and Giot will be there to help you in the fight. Head forward and pick up the 3 enemies. Continue to the next intersection where 3 more enemies will appear. Renson and Lou Reek will also be there to assist you in dealing with this pack. Again, avoid all of the AoEs from the mobs as best you can. Not only will there be a black mage that will put the point blank AoE on random party members during this pull, but there will also be a white mage that will cast Absolute Protect on all its surrounding allies. This will reduce the incoming damage for all enemies that have the buff. If you don't want to deal with that, this cast is also interruptible. When everything has been defeated, the door to the next area will open. When you head forward, 4 enemies will appear. You can kill these enemies here as there won't be more enemies until everything has been defeated. As you approach the drawbridge, 3 enemies will spawn in. The Paladin will cast a Passage of Arms and create a 90% damage reduction for itself and the 2 enemies behind him. Giot will cast Dwarven Deckling, which is a monk limit break even though Giot is a warrior. Game, please, my immersion can only go so far. This will take away a significant portion of the Paladin's health. Defeat the Paladin to be able to damage the other 2 enemies easily. As soon as all of the enemies have been defeated, the drawbridge will fall. Head around the corner and it's final boss time. Beastly Fury is a room-wide AoE. This first cast will also create a crystallized pattern in the outside walls, changing the safe area of the arena into something resembling a big plus sign. Stepping into or getting knocked into these outside walls will give you a harsh dot tick. Wild Anguish will put a stack marker on a random party member. Group up to share the damage. This will also give you a magic vulnerability up debuff for a few seconds. Keep this in mind for later. The Spectral Berserker will turn to face a random party member and cast Raging Slice. This will be a straight line AoE in the direction he is facing. Just move to the side if he turns to face you. Getting hit by the AoE will give you a Vuln stack. He will do this 2 times back to back. The cast of Wild Rage will put a medium-sized blue AoE on one of the sides of the arena. This will be a knockback to all players. I'd recommend positioning yourself to be pushed directly to the opposite side of the arena for this first knockback. If you do want to, you can also use knockback immunity to nullify this. This hit will create a big dent in the arena. Also keep this in mind for later. Every player will get a pink marker over their head with a medium-sized red ring around them. Everyone will need to spread out and definitely not overlap these circles for what comes next. All 4 players will have a pile of rubble fall on them. Then all 4 players will get a Wild Anguish stack marker. You will all need to stack with the pile of rubble that fell on you and not stack with other players. Because of the magic vulnerability that you receive, if you take 1 stack marker and then try to stack with someone else, you will instantly die from the damage. So as long as you are all spread out or just stay where your rubble has fallen, you should be okay. Following this, the Berserker will move to one side of the arena and cast Wild Rampage, which will cover the entire arena in a straight line AoE. Getting hit by this will give you an incredibly hard hit and a Vuln stack, or will outright kill you if you have a Vuln stack already. To avoid the hit, you will need to get into the crater from the knockback that happened earlier. This will give you a stack of the debuff a bit berserk while having an icon above your head that will slowly count up. Every tick that you are in this crater will increase the stack by 1. If you get to 8 stacks, you will get the debuff of Truly Berserk, which will cause you to lose control of your character. You will auto-attack the boss and harshly auto-attack yourself for several seconds until the buff wears off. You'll only need to stay in the crater until the AoE goes off. As soon as you leave the crater, you will lose the debuff and your stack will reset to 0. Following this will be another Raging Slice, except this time it will be 3 hits back to back before another Wild Rage knockback will happen to the opposite side of the arena. I'd recommend trying to point yourself to one of the far corners, as this will definitely be safe from the knockback, or you can just nullify it with knockback immunity or a well-timed gap closer. The Berserker will then go to one side of the arena and cast another Wild Rampage. Make sure that you get into the crater and avoid your stacks going to 8. From here, mechanics will repeat until the Berserker has been defeated. Congratulations, you have completed the Heroes Gauntlet. My name is The Scrub. Thank you for watching.